Chris Cillizza. It's from his Substack publication, chriscillizza.substack.com. And it's titled, Republicans Have a Death Wish. And this is absolutely fascinating. Donald Trump leads all the polls when the polling companies go out and say, well, who do you want for president, right? And it's always, yeah, we want Trump. He's way ahead of DeSantis. He's way ahead of everybody, which reminds me, I'm curious who you think has the best chance to be the Republican nominee for president, which is going to shake out early next year. But the campaigning is going to start in a really serious way in the next 2 months. I'm inclined to believe it's going to be Brian Kemp. But there are, a couple of other possible candidates. Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, is, I think it's South Dakota. It might be North. I'm pretty sure it's South. I mix up my Dakotas. She's talking about it. Tim Scott, the African-American senator from North or South Carolina, one of the Carolinas, I mixed them up too, is traveling to Iowa this week. Why Iowa? Well, that's where Republicans announced their intention to run for president. So there's speculation Tim Scott might try running for president. In many cases, when kind of second, third tier people announce these runs for president, really what they're announcing is either a run for vice president or a desire to get 6 months or a year's worth of free, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of free publicity so that their Senate seat is assured. This is the Lindsey Graham strategy, right? The Ted Cruz strategy. But we'll see. I'm putting my money on Brian Kemp right now. But in any case, the Republican strategy around Donald Trump is, they're very concerned about this. Donald Trump is not only leading in the polls, but when you look at how he would perform in an actual election, he's a huge loser. The candidates he supports lose, the positions he takes lose. Increasingly, Americans are turning away from this insane, the whole QAnon thing and all of the weird conspiracy theories. And Americans are getting fed up with this, and they just want normal back, right? Mitt Romney was a normal Republican. He's not a Republican I would vote for, but he was normal. And Trump isn't. So what's the GOP strategy for dealing with the possibility that Trump could disrupt the election in 2024? Well, it's hysterical. This is Mark Leibovich quoted a former Republican representative. He said, quote, this is the GOP plan for dealing with Trump. Quote, we are just waiting for him to die. He says, he writes, I have repeatedly heard that the least disruptive plan to getting rid of Trump, grim as it sounds, is simply to wait for him to die. Why risk alienating his supporters when nature will take its course sooner or later? This is Peter Meyer, who is the Republican representative from Grand Rapids, Michigan, who lost his re-election bid because he voted to impeach Trump. He said, and I quote, I've heard from a lot of people who will go on stage and put on the red hat and then give me a call the next day and say, I can't wait until this guy dies. The problem is Trump's mother died at 88 and his father at 93, and Trump is 76. He does weigh 244 pounds, and on the food front, he just orders whatever he wants. His typical meal, according to Corey Lewandowski, is, quote, a full McDonald's dinner of 2 Big Macs, 2 Filet-O-Fish sandwiches, and a small chocolate shake, end quote. He likes fast food because he's convinced it's germ-free. His view on exercise is also bizarre. He subscribes to what he calls the battery theory, which is that you're born with a certain amount of life force, and throughout your life you burn it up, and when you burn it all up, that's when you die. And you burn up that life force through exercise, and that's why Trump refuses to exercise. I'm not making this up. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes and how it plays out, but, the GOP strategy for Donald Trump is truly bizarre.